Hey everyone, what's up? It's Greg Srzavosty with the Deepest Dream YouTube channel for movie and TV reviews and interviews. Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Now, most importantly, The Damned. Is The Damned a psychological horror film that pretty much won me over? Will it win you over? Do you like slow burns? Do you want a gore fest with a ton of action? I will tell you right now in my spoiler-free review for The Damned, it's going to be very quick because the plot line is pretty basic. And well, I mean, it's basic because of a couple of things, but ultimately the third act is going to be very interesting. I'm not going to really get into the details, but there are very interesting parts of The Damned that may pull you in, or you might completely pull you out because basically a slow burn narrative. And I'll break it down right now, what this movie's about and my overall review for The Damned. You can skip to the end right now. I just love this movie. So I will tell you why I love this movie and why you might disagree. So The Damned, it's set in this, I don't know how to pronounce it, West Fjords, sort of a fishing region. It's desolate. It's in the sort of bleak midwinter. And Odessa Young, she plays this widow named Eva. She's the owner of this fishing outpost. And the movie starts with a bunch of fishermen. They come to her outpost. It's late at night. They're drinking. They're having a good time. Everything's, even though they're out in the winter, at night, it's in that sort of a cabin area, closed off area. Then they're singing songs and they're having a good time, drinking, eating. Everything seems okay. They're telling stories and folklorish kind of things. So you get sort of the culture involved within just a few moments. It's a very tight knit group of fishermen, and they all respect the widow. Again, Eva, played by Odessa Young. Her husband was actually the boss of this crew, this ragtag crew, and he passed away. And now it's up to them to honor his memory and also, well, just keep their livelihood alive. Okay, they came back with a lot of fish. The men are being paid by the current boss of the crew, and everything seems okay until the next day when they get out into the bright, it's not sunlight, but when you have all that white snow and a lot of emptiness and all that ocean in front of you, everything seems bright. And off into the distance, they see a ship that is sinking or as about to sink. There may be people on that boat. They may still be alive. They have two little boats to go out there and save them. But Eva's decision, she makes a very fateful decision. Okay, even though those two boats could possibly help those people out in the ocean, right? There may be just too many people for them to save, and the actual resources they have is not enough to feed everybody. Do they actually save those people who may already be dead? Okay, they might be dead, or do they just decide not to risk their own lives and just stay actually on that section, that West Fjords area where they are existing right in the winter, okay? And they can't really, it's a very bleak and hazardous time to actually go out and try to save people. So Eva, she decides to say, well, it's too dangerous. What can we do? And just based on that decision, she's sort of pretty much the de facto leader, and she makes that fateful decision, which ultimately leads into the rest of the movie where they are affected by this it's pretty much a morality play in many ways. Do you want to protect your family and your loved ones or your closest friends in a world where you're thinking about yourself as a survivor? You need to survive for the next day, and maybe your resources is not enough for that stranger out in the distance. So why help him or her or those people out there? That's a big theme with this very interesting movie, The Damned. And I really liked it. It's a universal theme about, are you going to be a good Samaritan? Are you going to look after your brother or sister? Or are you going to treat your proverbial brother or sister as a stranger and let them die on their own? And once Eva makes that decision, there's the proverbial cliche domino effect happens. And the fisherman and Eva, there's also another woman played Helga. Helga is actually very ensconced and wrapped up in the Icelandic mythic tales of the area, generations gone by, and she believes pretty much that decision could reap very bad benefits for them because there is a mythical creature called the Dragor. Dragor is a creature that takes a monster that supposedly in myth takes the form of a man and then wreaks havoc on the people in a karmic fashion. Okay, so these fishermen and Eva, they are supposedly from Helga's POV, okay, because of this Icelandic myth, they might be facing a Dragor who at the dead of night comes to haunt them. Okay. And as the narrative goes on, you might see whether this Dragor is real or not. And then also there's a play of philosophy. There's Helga, who is staunch in her beliefs of these Icelandic ghost stories or supernatural stories. Then there's another crewman, another fisherman who is very religious, believes in Jesus Christ, and he believes actually building crosses on that section of the island they're in will help ward off evil spirits. So that's another part. Joe Cole, you might know him. I loved him in this movie called The Prayer Before Dawn, and he was also in Gangs of London. Most of you might know him from Peaky Blinders. He plays also an important, just on the food chain, he's sort of second in command among the fishermen, and he has a big role as well. The leads are Joe Cole and Odessa Young, but ultimately the movie rests on the performance of Odessa Young because you see the horror going to that manifests itself in so many different ways throughout the narrative. And there's a lot of the director, Thordor Pálsson, he actually does a lot of push-ins and close-ups to her face, very expressive eyes, and you can really feel that there's a living, breathing spirit in her. And she does a really great job at playing this conflicted woman who is haunted by her decision, which she feels is she's doing it because she respects and loves the people she's with. She's trying to protect them. But then ultimately, she understands that decision may lead to very karmic bad fate for her and the other fishermen in that fishing output. Again, it's set, I think, around the 1870s, 19th century Iceland, and it is a slow burn, but it's interestingly two films in one. There are stretches in the movie when they're out in the middle of that wilderness, that snowy wilderness of nothingness, the mountains and just snow and the waters. It looks very beautiful during the day. So if you're going to watch this in a theater or you have a great entertainment system at home, at the very least, The Damned is just a visual feast. It's especially if you like snowbound type movies or nature-driven movies. This is a movie to watch. The detractors, the people who might not like this movie, are the ones who really do not like slow burn psychological horror thrillers. And the horror element is there, but it's more of a psychological thriller and especially a slow burn. So even though it's 89 minutes, it feels like a really full 89 minutes. If the director stretched it to 105 minutes, this might have been a slog to get through. But what keeps it from being not, what keeps the slow burn burning in a very good fashion are the visuals, the excellent locked-in performance of Odessa Young. I'm a fan of Joe Cole, loved him in this movie as well. But again, this movie is a movie that is headlined and led by Odessa Young. She's sort of the conscience and the leader and the person who stirs everything within that crew. And as you see the supposed dragger or the terror or the evil infest that area, the movie gets scarier and scarier as the story goes on. The third act is also might be very divisive for some people. It worked for me, but there is a surprise, not a surprise third act. The third act is really well rendered. And then you get to, I guess I said spoiler free, so I'm not going to say anything about the ending, but the ending is memorable. Let's just say this. The ending is very memorable for this movie. But again, if you like slow burn thrillers, The Damned is good. Odessa Young, excellent. So I'm giving this movie 4 out of 5 stars, 4 stars for me. Really enjoyed it. The detractors, I do warn people that if you want just an action driven type of horror film with a ton of grisly moments, there are a couple of violent moments, but overall, the bloodletting and the killings are not, if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to get it with this movie, but there are some genuine scares and a couple of like, oh my bleeping goodness moments. Okay, so The Damned, would love to hear what you think of this movie in the comments. Leave the comments below after you see the movie. Do you agree? Is it a great movie? Would you give it 4 out of 5 stars? Or did this movie completely not work for you? Thanks again for listening to this interview. Also, by the way, for our Cinematics Patreon listeners, I also do movie spoilers. So after this recording this, I will do exclusively for our Patreon members just a very quick spoiler talk regarding The Damned. So if you want to get in on that, join our Cinematics Patreon. It's a $5 catch-all per month. If not, just subscribe to this Deepest Dream YouTube channel. I have the movie spoilers usually. So for example, this spoiler will go out, the Damned spoiler goes out opening weekend, and then for people who subscribe to this Deepest Dream YouTube channel, the spoilers will be available 1 to 2 weeks after the movie's release. Okay? So again, comments, tell me what you think of The Damned. Thank you so much for checking out this review. I really hope you guys really enjoy this movie, and I hope the slow burn actually works for you. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.